Hey guys, it's Hannah, and today I am back with another video for you. Sorry about the lighting if it's a little bit crazy. I'm using outdoor lighting, and it's kind of getting like bright and then dim, so just ignore that. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys all about my tips for buying and selling things online. This is aimed more at like secondhand purchases, so buying things on websites such as Depop, eBay, Mercari, Poshmark, or even finding something you want on Instagram or a forum and sending money to that person to receive it. I've been selling stuff on Depop for almost 3 years now. I have almost 500 reviews. I think it's like 450. But I also buy a lot of stuff on there, and I spend a lot of time and money on eBay. I've been making secondhand purchases on a regular basis for probably about 3 or 4 years now. I really got into that when I got into collecting vinyl, and also I used to collect a lot of other band merch items, so obviously a lot of those came through secondhand purchases. So with my experience in that, I'm just going to be telling you guys some of my tips for buying and selling things online. So we're going to start out with buying things. The #1 rule of buying things online is never gift money. Never send the money as PayPal friends and family, never do a wire transfer, and for the love of God, never mail someone cash. There is no backup for these. If you send someone money and through one of these methods and they don't send your item, guess what? You're out your money and the item. There's no way to recover it unless you, went to the person's house and took it, and that's not going to happen. So when you're sending money via PayPal, you have two options. You have PayPal Goods and Services and PayPal Friends and Family. Friends and Family is obviously for your friends and family. Goods and Services is what you're going to use to send money whenever you're buying something. Goods and Services has no fee on the buyer's side, but on the seller's side, the seller has a 2.9% PayPal fee. So whatever the amount of money you send them is, 2.9% of that is going to go to PayPal instead of the person you're sending money to. This is how PayPal makes their money. So it's really important that you use that Goods and Services feature. If you're on Depop or eBay, just buy straight through the website. They'll cover you. A lot of the time, people will say, oh, pay through PayPal, friends and family, because I don't want to have to pay the fee. If somebody says this, just offer to pay the fee. It's 2.9%, which is like a minuscule amount. If you're buying anything that's not insanely expensive, it's only going to be $1 or $2 more. And to me, that $1 or $2 more is worth not being scammed out of an item. If someone still refuses to do the deal, they're probably a scammer, and don't buy from them. Alright, my #2 tip for buying things online has to do more with finding the things you're looking for. As an avid vinyl collector, you can kind of see my collection chilling over here. We have about 400 records right now. There's a lot of things we're actively looking for. In order to find these things, we set up saved searches. I have 100 saved searches on eBay, which is the maximum amount you can have. I follow 100 sellers, which is the maximum amount you can have. On Mercari, they have a feature where you can save a search and it'll send it to your email whenever there's a new one that popped up in that search. It'll send an email up to 3 times a day, so I just get everything that's sent into the vinyl category comes to my email so that I can filter through it and make sure there's nothing I want. All of my #1 kind of searches, I have alerts set up for eBay, so it'll send a notification straight to my phone so that I know if a Lights vinyl I don't have is posted, I can snatch it up. I make want to buy posts all the time. This is a really big thing because a lot of people have things that they don't really use, but they're not really actively selling. If you make a post like looking to buy blank, like will pay good money or whatever, and you post that on Vinyl Collective, on your Twitter, on your Instagram, your Tumblr, your Facebook, you can go on those merch groups on Facebook, just post it everywhere. This is how I found so many of the records I have, and for such good prices. For those of you who are familiar with vinyl collecting or hardcore bands, I guess, the band Stick to Your Guns is one of my favorite bands, and I haven't paid over $20 for a single vinyl of theirs. I believe I have 8 or 9 different records from them, and some of those go for pretty rare. Both of my presses of Diamond, the clear and the white one, I got for like 15 bucks on Depop just by making a want to buy post. So make the posts, search out the people who have them, because some people don't even know they're looking to sell until somebody wants to buy. My #3 tip, and this is going to be like my final tip for buying things, is always before you buy, especially on sites like Depop, Poshmark, Mercari, always ask the seller if they have tracking included in their shipping. Tracking is super, super important, especially if you're like me and have terrible luck with the mail. It's important to know where your package is, and sometimes packages will get sent back. And if there's no tracking number from the get, if that seller doesn't send it with a tracking number, there's not going to be any way to know where your package is. It could take weeks or months to get there. It could get lost in the mail, and that will fall on the seller for not getting tracking. But then again, you won't have your item. So it's important to make sure that there's going to be tracking before you even buy the item. A $3 shipping on a t-shirt should include tracking, just to kind of give you an idea. First class mail is not that much, and it does include tracking. You can ship a lot of clothes that way and light items. So if somebody is charging you $3 on a t-shirt and they say it doesn't include tracking, that's ridiculous, because tracking doesn't cost extra anymore. The post office has like changed things. For shipping records, books, CDs, you're going to want to go media mail. Media mail is so cheap, it will only cost you $3 or $4 to ship a record or something bulky. It has to be media though. You cannot ship these through a self-service kiosk at the post office. You have to ship them through the actual post office counter, because you have to tell the person what is inside. Say if it was just a record, I can ship it media mail, but if it's a record and a shirt in the same package, I can't ship that media mail because it has to just be media. So this is a really cheap option, and it always includes tracking. So just make sure to kind of do your research and make sure that you're not getting scammed out of a tracking number because the seller is being cheap. Or just lazy. Don't let people overcharge you for shipping. I guess this is kind of lumped into the same thing, but like I just said, do your research. It doesn't cost that much to ship stuff. I mean, $8 or $10 on a pair of boots, for example, would be reasonable. $8 or $10 on a record is never reasonable. Tell them to ship it media mail. It will be $3.09 as a general rule. Alright, so now on to my selling tips. Like I said, I've been selling stuff for almost 3 years now, and I would say I have a little bit of experience. So my first tip is take good pictures. Use good lighting, good backgrounds, and don't leave anything up to interpretation. If you take a picture and the shirt looks purple with the filter you have on, the buyer receives it and the shirt is gray, they are going to be upset, and they can file a PayPal claim to get their money back because it's not as described. So something like that can really backfire on you, so just make sure your pictures are clear, make sure your colors are accurate, make sure there's no crazy filters on it, and don't have like a blurry, shitty picture, because no one's going to want to buy your stuff if you don't have good representations of it posted. Number 2, use relevant tags. Nothing is more frustrating than tag surfing on Depop or eBay and just finding stuff that is completely unrelated to what I'm looking for. So don't use irrelevant tags. It will just make people more annoyed at you, and if you're using irrelevant tags, the people searching those tags aren't going to want to buy your stuff anyway if they're not related. But if you're using relevant tags, such as bands that are similar to each other, a cassette tag on a vinyl or something like that, those have a lot of like overlapping collectors, then that's going to be something that could be useful to you. So make sure to pick and choose your tags carefully. Don't go crazy or be super annoying with them. And just make sure to use relevant tags. My camera's shaking. My cat is walking around it. Alright, and my number 3 tip goes back to my number 3 buying tip. Always get tracking. Let me tell you a little story. It was in May. That was when this happened. In May, Keith and I were packing up to move. He found this Fall Out Boy book that he had that was from the Save Rock and Roll pre-order. We looked it up and it went for about $150. I listed it on Depop for $140 and someone bought it. She was happy with her item. I got her tracking, whatever. I forgot about it. We moved, and then it was mid-July because it was right before I was seeing brand new. This bitch filed a PayPal claim that said she didn't authorize the transaction. Now, this was where I went wrong. I used to have all of my post office receipts, and when we moved I threw them all out, so I no longer had her tracking. Even though I had her messages saying she was excited to get it, saying that she had bought it, her 5-star review, I had all those screenshots, PayPal told me the only way to win the case was to have her tracking. So this girl scammed me out of $140 plus a $20 PayPal chargeback fee. This bitch scammed me out of $160 because I threw out her tracking when I moved. So always get tracking, take pictures of it or keep it in a folder, do something, and don't throw that shit out for at least 6 months. The window to file a PayPal claim is 6 months, so after 6 months you can go ahead and pitch the receipt because they can't do shit. But keep that receipt for up to 6 months, keep the tracking, start a folder on your phone with pictures of it, because if you don't, it will really backfire on you, and anyone can post and say that they didn't receive their item, that it wasn't as described, that they didn't authorize the transaction, and then you're going to be out of your money, and it's going to fucking suck. So there you have it. Those are my tips for buying and selling things online. If you have any more questions, leave them down below. I really hope this was helpful to you guys, and go out there, sell your stuff, make some money, and find what you're looking for. Be sure to like and subscribe to this video, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!